What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast. This is Abe, your host, and Lemmy Chillmeister, your co-host. Today is, I think, July 30th. Let's see. Do we get 30 days? Yep, 30 days in July. July 30th, 2024. As far as the update, pretty simple. Just been working, daily grind. There's somebody over there getting towed. Sucks to be them. I thought it was an ambulance or fire truck at first, because where I work, I come in early to a podcast because I usually get up early. And it's a pretty sketchy grocery store. And I work third shift. We get crackheads and we get mental people, and you know, because Ronald Reagan shut down all the asylums, so we get a lot of action here. And I was like, oh man, here we go. It's gonna be one of those crazy ass days. But that's about it. Just enjoying the beautiful sunset. Overcast today here in Kentucky, but nice and cool for once. That's it for update. So today we're probably just going to cover my notes here, several different subjects of current stuff that's going on. Now, this first story is kind of true crime-ish, but it actually gets into the paranormal and Christianity and stuff. So I think it's relevant to conspiracies and stuff like that. So let's get into the killing of Sonya Massey. So I'm going to give you, honestly, if you want, the best thing for you to do, and I'm not using my computer, I'm recording from my phone, so I can't use OBS. Which reminds me, last episode, I usually rewatch the episode just to see how it turned out and shit, or if I regret saying anything crazy or anything before I put it out. But I said that I have OBS on my phone. I do not have OBS on my phone. I meant to say laptop. So little editorial for last episode. So I'm going to go ahead and just give you the basic rundown since I can't show you, but it's probably easier for you to actually just watch the body cam footage if you're interested in true crime and paranormal. So, this black lady, about my age, she looked about to be in her 30s. Excuse me, I just finished eating. She called the cops because she heard like this big shatter of a window, and she lives alone. She has the final stages of lupus, and I don't really know a lot about lupus. I am not a medical professional. This is not medical advice, but I'm thinking final stage. I'm thinking lupus is fatal, and final stages of it, that's not good. That doesn't sound good. That sounds to me almost like the final stages of like AIDS or cancer or something, you know. So I think she had a death note on her, you know. She called the cops because she heard a shatter outside of her window, and she seen someone break into her neighbor's black SUV. So she's waiting on the cops to come. They were knocking on her door for, I think it was about like 5 minutes or something, and finally she answered the door. And okay, she's very religious. That's not a bad thing. I'm not trashing Christians or anything. But as soon as she answers the door, she says, you know, please don't harm me. And one of the cops was super fucking cool. The one, Grayson, Sean Grayson, he's a piece of shit. Now, the Christian community is like a lot of pastors are breaking down this body cam footage and saying that the Sean Grayson guy is possessed. By the way, this is Conspiracy Corner Podcast. We cover paranormal and stuff. So, just moving the camera because there's someone in front of me and I don't want them to think I'm filming them. It's a younger girl. I don't want to look like a pervert. Anyways, so you know that I get into the paranormal on this channel. We have a ton of paranormal episodes and stuff. And I get into the woo-woo. I believe in demon possession. But I also believe in mental illness, anger issues. So, a lot of these pastors are saying that right there when she immediately said, please don't harm me, that she could sense a demon possessing Sean Grayson. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure his name is Sean Grayson. Yes, Sean Grayson. So they go around, the good cop goes around and checks out the black SUV, windows busted out. And then he goes back to Sean, and Sean, like, somehow, for no reason, which he shouldn't have even done, this is fishy as fuck, gets into her house. And while she's talking to both cops outside of the house on the stoop, she's literally like praying and stuff, like, oh God, please, God, I'm so sorry, God, please. So she's super religious, but to me, playing devil's advocate and trying to use Occam's razor and realism, there's a part of me that thinks that she is mentally ill. And I'm not bashing her, because I've said on this channel, I've been pretty open about my alcoholism. I've been open about my mental illness, that I am mentally ill. I believe that it is treatable. You know, take your meds and stuff like that. But she could be mentally ill, and I try to be realistic. So, let's get into this Sean Grayson character, into his background. So, Sean Grayson used to be in the military. First of all, and I know I can get some backlash for this, I really don't care. I've always had this belief that if you served in the military, you should not be allowed to get a job as a cop afterwards. Because I believe that a lot of people are like, well, the military is a lot like the police force. Well, it shouldn't be. First of all, I'm anti-militarization of law enforcement. I think that's a big issue of, like, the military giving law enforcement old tanks and old equipment and stuff like that. They just give it to law enforcement. That's terrifying. That, and there's a mindset of the military. If you want to know my honest opinion, I think in the military and boot camp and stuff, they break you and brainwash you to become a killing machine. And I don't think you should have that mindset as a police officer. You should be taught more compassion, to not want to just kill. You know, because you hear stuff like, what makes the grass grow? Blood! You know. And I think that a lot of these ex-military go in there thinking that the streets are a battleground, when that is the worst mindset ever. And you can get into the conspiracy, because this is Conspiracy Corner Podcast. You can get into the conspiracy that I've heard a lot of people think that they purposely choose psychopaths to join the police force. That they do put them through, like, psychological tests and shit. And, they choose the psychopaths. And purposely, the good guys and shit, they purposely are like, nah, you can't have the gig. You're too nice. You're too good. Because I've seen situations within my own life of people applying to be cops. And they're like the sweetest, nicest, sanest individuals. And they get turned down and stuff. And it's like, everybody's like, how did they not become a cop? Like, they would have been an amazing cop. But then some psychopath, like I had a school bully who shoved a broomstick up another kid's ass. He was a part of the football team. And he's now a cop in Lancaster, Kentucky, Garrett County, which is terrifying. But this guy, Sean Grayson, was dishonorably discharged from the military for serious misconduct. I do not know what that means. I could do a deeper dive and see what that entails. Let's see. Oh, also, he has had 6 different police jobs in his career, meaning he's either been transferred or fired, quit, whatever. And to me, the first thing that popped up is like, oh, police officers are like Catholic priests, you know. So when they fuck up, they just transfer them, you know, give them some time off, paid leave or unpaid leave. You're in trouble. Slap on the wrist. Let's transfer them to a new department, you know. Let's see. So he's already sketchy anyways. So we got into, they're in the house now. The vampires are in the house. By the way, treat local law enforcement like vampires that don't ever invite them in. That's my best advice to you. Let's see. Yeah, so they're in the house. They're talking. And they're asking her for ID and shit, and she seems kind of disheveled. This is why I think she's got mental illness. But she could be under the influence of something, which I'm not judging. She's at home. She's not driving around. What's the big issue? You know? So I ain't judging if she is drunk or something or high. But she's all disheveled, can't find her license. And one of the cops noticed that there's a boiling pot of water on the stove. So he's like, hey, can you turn that off? You know, we don't need a fire here. And she goes, oh, I'm sorry. She gets up, goes over, turns it off. And she's in the middle of carrying it over to the sink. And both cops back away. And she goes, what's wrong? Why are you all scared? And they said, one of them said, I think it was Grayson, said, oh, I don't want you to throw boiling water on me. And she said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Now, this is where it gets crazy. So, I was raised Pentecostal. My dad was a preacher. We also did different denominations of trying different denominations, churches and stuff. But I was always raised, if you come in contact with a demon in someone or an apparitional demon, you actually see one, you are supposed to rebuke them in the name of Jesus with the blood and stripes of Jesus Christ, you know. That it banishes them, you know. Banishes or binds, whatever. Now, I agree with this. I've had contact with a demon face to face. It's a whole nother story. Go check that episode out on my YouTube channel. I'm not sure if I ever released it as a podcast. I think I did, and I think it's literally called My First Live Stream. Should be the title of it. We get background music today. Y'all hear that? So, I believe that you can banish demons and stuff. Now, as soon as she said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, the cop says, Grayson says, I swear to God, you do that fucking shit, I'll blow your fucking head off. And then pulls out his gun, not his taser, and points it at her head. So she freaks out, holds the pot up, and he says, put that down, put that down. Now this is where it gets crazy. they freeze framed it. She did throw the pot of water at them. Not saying, before you attack me in the comments, I am not saying that's right. First of all, he shouldn't have pulled his gun. He should have pulled non-lethal taser and just tased her if he was that scared of getting boiling water on her. But she did throw the pot of boiling water. I watched, I can't remember which channel, but they paused the fucking body cam and you see her throwing it at them. Once again, I believe she's mentally ill. She might be like schizophrenic or something, so she might have been seeing a demon in her head. The guy might be possessed too, because that is not a normal reaction of someone saying, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, to just flip out and say, I'm gonna fucking blow your face off and pull out your gun. That's demonic type shit. And I'm 50-50 on this one. The dude could be possessed, but he also could just be a fucking psycho. So, after she does that, he shot her in the head. I think like 3 shots went off, so I'm not sure if all 3 connected with her head, but she was shot in the head. And Grayson starts freaking out and going, she tried to throw water at us. See, it's on my feet. So it hit his feet, splashed onto the ground, and she did try to throw the water at them. Maybe she was boiling holy water. You know how you make holy water? You boil the hell out of it. Ha ha! Sorry. I know it's dark, but we need some comic relief. Alright, so this is where it gets kind of even darker, of where I think Grayson is either possessed or insane and evil. Definitely evil. The good cop, which, by the way, if you watch the body cam, I think he's like pagan. There's all these Nordic runes and shit, and it looks like Fenrir. So I think he believes in like the Norse religion and stuff, which is cool. It turns out he's like the good guy. You know, he's the nice one. So before all these Christians freak out and go, you know, like, turns out the guy with the most heart out of all of them is a Nordic, you know, Nordic religious. So Grayson still got his gun on her, and he's yelling at her to put that pot around or away, throw that pot away. And she had literally been shot in the head at least once. Like, she's not moving, bro. And the good cop goes, let me get my med kit. He starts to go get it, and he says, no, she's shot in the head, bro. There's no point. So then the good cop goes over and starts applying pressure onto Mrs. Massey's head. She's still gasping for air, so she's still alive even after a headshot. And the bad cop finally goes out to get his med kit, and then comes back in, like, just throws it down, and he says, I'm not wasting my fucking med kit on her. You know, that's dark, evil shit right there. Now, ambulance comes, gets her, puts her on the backboard thing, takes her to the hospital. She dies at the hospital. The good cop was holding and compressing her head the entire time, trying to keep her alive and keep the blood inside of her brains. Now, I didn't see unedited, I didn't see raw footage. Everything I seen was blurred, which I don't have to. I'm not like a gore porn guy. There is conspiracies that this is going to be used by the left for reasons to riot for political purposes, like George Floyd. We're not going to dive into that rabbit hole. If you're a conspiracy theorist, you know enough about George Floyd to know that there's a lot of there's crazy conspiracies around it. and it was definitely used as a political tool. The good cop, after they take off Miss Massey, he goes back to his car and he's like shaking and just like, fuck. That poor guy. So if you believe in prayers, say some prayers for him. If you believe in magic, do a little spell for him. If you just believe in good vibes, give him the magic shaky hands, you know, send your good vibes his way, because he's gonna need some therapy after this shit. But there are so many other things he could have done. Like, he could have tased her. He could have pepper sprayed her. He could have used his baton, taken the hit like a man of boiling water. By the way, it wasn't even grease, it was boiling water. Grease would be terrifying, though. I ain't gonna lie, I would have rather have seen him just whip out the baton and just beat the fuck out of her. I know that sounds terrible, but at least she would be alive. You know? Now, there is an excellent movie, and it's based off a true story. And this is a movie that I think everyone should watch. Christians, non-Christians, I think everyone should watch it. Because of the actual message of the movie. The Exorcism of Emily Rose. And I'm sure there's somebody out there who's going to go, that's not based off a true story. Yes, it is. It's loosely based off a true story. I'm not getting into the semantics of Hollywood and how they butcher shit. It's based off of the story of Annalise, which is like one of the most famous exorcism cases. And there was a trial. Annalise was possessed. Emily Rose, Annalise, whatever. We'll call her just Annalise, because that's what it's based off of. Annalise was this girl who was possessed in Germany, and she was a beautiful girl, and she literally ended up losing like her teeth, her hair, getting down to like deadly weight, and she was not given proper medical attention. They relied strictly on exorcism, which she could have been mentally ill, she could have been actually possessed. That's up for you to debate and decide. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. We'll do a whole conspiracy cinema episode on Exorcism of Emily Rose, and we'll get into it, you know, the movie review and the debate about it and shit. I think the actual priest, or the two priests, were like found guilty in German court. There's a lot of people who argue they did the right thing. I think that they could have done an exorcism and also given her medical attention, like moved her to a hospital, put her on a feeding tube, put her on IVs. I think they could have done both, you know. But I do think that the reason why I bring this case up is I think that I notice this with Christians a lot, and I grew up around it. And if you want to be a Christian, that's cool. But I notice you guys automatically jump to conclusions that the cop is possessed. And they're focusing on the paranormal and shit. But I think we should be focusing more on, and yes, it's fun. Like I said, I get into the woo-woo, I get into the paranormal. It's fun as hell to delve into that shit. I love it. Most of my channel is paranormal episodes and shit. But, we have to be realist, and I think that it's taking the focus off of what really counts. Is we need more training with police officers. We need stricter laws. Perhaps you agree with me that ex-military should not be police. We need more training in basic stuff, like, as weird as it sounds, train them in compassion. Better psychological test on these people to make sure they're not psychopaths. training on non-lethal, not to jump to lethal and to use non-lethal. Yeah, training on no headshots. He could have did a body shot. Why didn't he take out an arm? She's holding a pot of water that's boiling. Okay, if you're going to use a lethal gun, take out her arm. Blow off one of her fingers. I know this sounds crude and dark and grim, but I'd rather the poor girl be missing a finger, or blow off her hand, or shoot her in the arm, or shoot her in the foot, the leg, even a body shot. There's more of a chance of survival of a body shot. Take out her lung, you know. Something to where poor Miss Sonya is still alive and with us. Even if she's a little damaged, she would still be alive if it was not a fatal head wound. So, I know this is a controversial issue. I don't mind controversy, but I had to report on it because it's in my category of subjects, of paranormal, Christianity, religion, demonology, mental health, true crime. So, I had to talk about it. So let's get on. We'll do one more Bob Saget segment, and we'll finish this one out. We'll wrap it up. So what'd you think of that story, Lammy? Oh, that's a sad one. Next segment, let's do a palate cleanser and end it on a happy note. Next segment, and I think this is pretty funny. There's two things that have happened since the Trump assassination attempt with Trump. So he was at a rally, and I don't know if there was some loud noise that went off, but he literally started scrambling. So, and I'm not making fun of him, but he has changed slightly since the rally. For one, I covered it last episode. Please check that episode out. He's admitted he's not a Christian, which is insane. I had never thought those words would have come out of his mouth. I mean, he's been lying like I called it out years ago when the Christian community was in the QAnon community was saying like that, oh, he's a Christian, he's the next David and stuff, and I'm like, no, he's not a Christian. Y'all keep saying that. I said he's pretending to be a Christian. So we covered that last episode. But yeah, he scrambled. He heard a loud noise, scrambled. Secret Service jumped on top of him and shit. Was like, hey, it's okay, it's okay. It's not a gunshot. Like I said, I'm not making fun of him. He probably has PTSD, you know. Ain't gonna lie. But I noticed, too, he's less egotistical, which is good. I think that when he got clipped in the ear, he came to, it was a life-changing event, and I think there was some destruction of ego, because during one of his most recent rallies or speeches, he actually made fun of his hair. He pulled up a picture on like one of the jumbotrons and was like, look at that hair right there, look at that hair. If you can find the clip, YouTube it or whatever and check it out, because it's hilarious. But it was good to see. I don't hate Trump, you know, I don't have TDS. I voted for him last election. There is a part of me, there's things about Trump that I like, you know, like, I don't know, he's just hilarious watching sometimes. He's a goofball. He's a meatball. But, to me, that was good to see, dude. That his ego is kind of not, I'm not saying his ego is fully destroyed. But when he got clipped in the ear, there was some destruction of ego that came off with that ear. Yeah, he was making fun of his comb over and his hair and talking about how wacky it looked that day and making fun of himself. To me, the best comedians, and I told this, I went on this whole rant about how Sam Tripoli is one of my favorite comedians, Bill Hicks is one of my favorite comedians, Doug Stanhope is one of my favorite comedians. The best comedians to me are the ones who self-deprecate. Self-deprecation jokes. And who make fun of themselves. Because to me, I don't mind if someone makes fun of me if they also self-deprecate. Now, if this is some egotistical piece of shit, like this one guy I worked with, his name was like Will Chester or something. He was a fucking asshole. He used to shave his legs and run marathons, and he was a huge, like, 7-foot tall football player, and he used to make fun of me, but he would never make fun of himself. And anytime I would make fun of him, like a real cutthroat fucking joke, he'd get mad. And I was like, oh, you suck at comedy. Because a true comedian can take a joke and also make fun of themselves. So, that's about it. I found it interesting. I wanted to clean the palate, clean the slate. This episode, I actually was just going to do another hat pull. But we ended up using the whole episode covering poor Miss Sonya Massey. And keep her family in your prayers. Hopefully she's in a better place. Sounded like she was a daughter of Jesus, which is cool. If there is a heaven, I know she's there. She was a woman of God. I don't know much about her, but I could tell that she was a good person. Perhaps mentally ill, but that doesn't mean she's bad, you know. I pray for her family. I'll probably light a candle or something. I have a St. Jude candle. You know, I'll spiritually pray or cast a spell for her family and stuff on my own spiritual time. Do my own spiritual practices, but do the same for her family and stuff, because that's gotta suck to lose a daughter, a sister, an aunt, whatever she was to other people. I don't know enough about it, but rest in peace, Sonya Massey, and I hope that Sean Grayson gets what he deserves. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about all this stuff, about, was it demon possession? Was it mental illness? Was it anger issues? Let me know anything you want to talk about in the comments. I need you guys to engage more, and I'm not getting on to you, but please engage more. Please give thumbs up if you like it. Give thumbs down if you don't like it. The algorithm doesn't see any difference between thumbs up or thumbs down. Engagement is engagement. But please hit me up in the comments, because I enjoy talking to you all. I love you all. You all have a good day. Lammy, say goodbye. And God bless.